Real quick, if you're into the intersection of Web3 and content creation, you should know about Bitcast. It's one of the most exciting projects emerging from the Bittensor ecosystem right now, and it's all built on Bittensor itself. Bitcast is building the decentralized creator economy, a place where creators can publish, earn, and collaborate without middlemen or platform lock-ins. It's a powerful example of how Bittensor isn't just about AI. It's about building open, incentive-aligned systems across the internet. All right, let's get into it.
So if I buy, or if I stake 2 tau, price goes up, it doesn't matter. Price goes down of the alpha, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's just at that moment that you register. And so a lot of scenarios will be that you already know that Subnet 20 and Subnet 45 are like two of the best subnets in the entire ecosystem. You've already staked, hundreds of tau, which means you've got thousands of alpha on both of those. So when you go to attach your wallet, it's going to be like, hey, you've got, thousands of Subnet 20. Just make sure you hold 100 or 77 or whatever the number is that would only equal 2. It's going to tell you. You only need to hold 2 taus worth.
And it's just 2 tau at the time of the initial staking event. Okay. And then will that cover just any amount I have with you guys? So say it's a huge whale that has 100,000 tau, or it's a guy that has 10 tau. It doesn't matter. If they stake 2 tau, their entire balance is covered with you guys? How will that work?
Maybe. Sorry. So the way that works, there's a couple of things to unpack there. Number one, once your wallet is attached as coverage, it doesn't matter if you add or subtract your tau stake to root. You can keep adding on. You never have to come back and do anything else. We don't care about that, right? We just want you to basically say, I'm attaching, I've committed to, and I'll never move that alpha, right? You're good. Keep adding to your stack. Keep increasing your stake. More power to you. The reason I said maybe as the obscure answer there is because it all depends on how much our policy covers. So today it's $25 million, and how much of a hack happened, who got compromised. So if you go and we say hypothetically, this awful event happened and all these wallets got compromised, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to do an analysis of the blockchain, and we're going to say, okay, these wallets were affected. That equals $20 million. Well, we have a policy for 25. Everybody gets paid back 100% as long as the insurance company did their part and paid out. So everybody would be good in that example. Now let's say that we've got $500 million staked en route to the Rizzo validator, and our policy is for $250 million. And the whole thing gets drained, right? So we've had a $500 million loss, but we only had a $250 million policy. Well, then what we're going to do is we're going to pay the deductible to the insurance company and the fees that are charged, whatever. But that aside, what we're going to do, just for easy math's sake, is we're going to pay every wallet back proportional to that. So every wallet is going to get 50% of what they had. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if you're the big whale with 100,000 tau all staked to Rizzo en route, you'll get back 50,000. And if you're the guy that has 10 tau, you'll get back 5.
Correct. Exactly right. So the name of the game is we have to keep increasing that policy every month. Like, and I don't know how realistic that is. This is a new, this is new territory for me. I'm doing my best, but I've learned a lot in the last couple of months in the world of insurance. I'll tell you that. But, our job is to recognize additional revenue coming in and go to the insurance company and say, we've got more, up our policy. The good news is that the big leap is the first company, right? So typically how this works when you start dealing with just millions and millions of dollars on insurance is you've got the guy that's really going to hang it out there, and he's going to cover that base policy. And then you start layering on other insurance companies that are kind of feeling like they're de-risking a little bit. And what that translates to is more people saying yes and a cheaper cost for the policy. So I shouldn't have the sticker shock that I got on the initial as I keep adding and adding on.
So basically, as adoption increases, price of the premiums decrease, allowing you to get more coverage, and then adoption should increase because now it's just a cycle like that. is how you see it?
That's exactly right. And so we'll keep just trying to push that and push that and push that. Multiple carriers, different policies, you name it, whatever we have to do. You know, anybody that knows me in business knows that I always like to keep a little change in my pocket. So, you know, we're going to explore everything. And so I think another important piece to point out, kind of going back to the process of registering your wallet, is that we have a 2-week warm up period. And so what that means is if you attach your wallet doesn't go active for 2 weeks, and then you're good. And so let's say, as an awful example, you attached, you know, your wallet and you had, you know, $50,000 worth of Tau staked to root with us. And 1 week later, this big awful event happened and your wallet was compromised and blah, 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 blah. We're going to go do that discovery and we're going to see that you haven't been on our policy for a full 2 weeks. So we're not going to honor it. You're going to hate us in that awful scenario. And really that's just a common practice in the world of insurance. There's a different word for it than warm up, but I kind of like warm up better. Elimination period, something like that. But nonetheless, you got a 2 week from the moment you attach to us, and then you're good as long as we keep these policies going. And if we ever decide to discontinue the policy or anything, you know, add, subtracts, etc., we're going to be fully transparent. That's kind of our mantra anyway, right?
And then I guess in the event of a payout, how would like execution price be determined? Like say a hack or exploit happens and prices $500 per Tau, and then after that it goes down to like $250 or something. What level would you do the payout at?
Basically, the way that's going to work is we're going to look, going back to that warm-up period I talked about, when we do our diligence on which wallets were affected and who qualifies for the payouts and all that fun stuff, we're going to go back 2 weeks from when the event, before the event happened, and that's the date that we're going to calculate everything on.
Okay. So just 2 weeks before whatever date, you just take whatever price that is.
Yep.
And payouts
It's
are
all proportionate anyway.
Yeah. How long did this take to set up from idea to being active as of last Friday?
We started talking about this crazy idea November, I think, right around November. Yeah. Yeah, because it was already kind of something that we were discussing at our big end of year Christmas party that we had. And, you know, we had a lot of jokes around it. We didn't really think that we could pull it off. And I'm not surprised we pulled it off. I mean, it's pretty out there, but you know, I think that the industry is kind of moving toward, you know, the legitimacy and trust, and people are taking more risk, and you know, a little persistence goes a long way.
Yeah. And so November to now February, that's a good amount of months there. And this was just you reaching out to different insurance providers, or is like crypto insurance already a big thing and I just don't know about it? Or is this kind of like the first of its kind type of situation?
It's actually a pretty quick growing industry. There's some primary players there that are really establishing a great name and presence in this space. And maybe that's another, you know, pat on my back moment where I can say that, you know, we got our primary policy with Nexus Mutual, who's like the biggest when it comes to crypto insurance and, more importantly, legitimacy. It's not some, you know, mom and pa that you know, doesn't pay out. And they have a lot of different crypto policies. If you go kind of poke around their site, I mean, there's a lot around DeFi. They cover a lot of protocols. I too did not know this existed. I thought I was like the guy that came up with the idea or something like that. And no, that's not even close to the case. This is a thing. You can start Googling crypto insurance, and it's growing quite quickly. Now, insuring a validator, let alone on a brand new blockchain, now that's a little tough of a nut to crack. But I'm super excited. I think that it brings a lot of additional legitimacy and professionalism to Bittensor. People just knowing that they can sleep a little better at night. I love that. I think I could see others following suit. There's something to say for taking that you know, the oligarchy, as they say, of you know, a dozen or so validators that control everybody's fate away and putting that into the market. So I knew that was the right call. I definitely am very excited to see where things go, but I didn't want any change to happen. Things were going just fine. We were scaling. We were adding to the team. I felt like we were putting all the dollars in the right places. You know, you can't say that for everybody, but yeah, it was just kind of scary change. So now that the dust has settled a little bit from that immediate change, I'm like, this is great. This is so fun. I'll go and I'll grab my, my personal stack, in my office there and start buying a little this and a little that and playing around. That's a lot of fun. And I can see how that's going to be a really attractive thing going through the next 9 or so months of the bull. If that's how long it is, nobody really knows. There is going to be a bull, right?
That's
But
what I've been told.
that's what I'm told. That's what I'm told. Oh, yeah, I think that makes Bittensor one of the most unique projects in the ecosystem. The AI narrative everybody gets, decentralized AI is going nowhere. How lucky are we all to be here, right?
Yeah. And I know today we've focused pretty much on your validator and this, not update, but development of coverage, to be correct about how I word it.
Good man.
Is pretty monumental, I would say. It's a new idea. It's a very unique way to bring value to the network that you were probably the only person thinking of, but it does make sense when you think about it. So I want to ask you one last question before we wrap up here, and I'm sure we'll do this another time to deep dive in on your two subnets, 20 and 45. Just what advice do you have for builders looking to contribute unique value to the network? A way to think outside the box, like you've done with the insurance here. What advice would you have for people to do something like that?
Yeah, so I think that the builders, as you call them, are some of the smartest people I've ever seen. And they have the most unique ideas and make really just the coolest shit I've ever seen. And so I don't really have advice on that side. I think that if I had to give any advice, and I've said it many a times, it's put the right people in play to cover the stuff that isn't getting done while you're doing that unique building, right? Like, get that operations guy to deal with the minutia so that you can keep, your head down in the stuff that you're passionate about. Get that marketing team or that marketing guy or whatever that might be to really get out and make sure that people are seeing and hearing what you're doing. Because as far as the builders go, they got it going on. They just need to make sure somebody knows. You know what I mean?